Alrighty, thank y'all for joining me today. This is Trucker Todd, and there's been some things going on, especially yesterday in the news, that even though this isn't a political channel and we typically don't talk politics, it bothered me enough last night that I had trouble sleeping, and I just feel like some things need to be said. This is still not going to be where I'm sitting here saying one party's all right and one party's all wrong, but there's definitely some things that need to be said and definitely some things that need to be thought about. A lot of people have been asking me, in my opinion, what I think about it. And so in this video, we're going to cover that. But before we do, let's say hello to our surviving 6 channel members. We've got them down here. Starting with the very original one, Ramon, then Robbie Ross, Corey Oatley, Oaser DM, KC, and Adam Murley. I'm sorry. I appreciate all of y'all being here today. All right, so before we begin, let me start by saying I've said in numerous videos that I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes. I do stuff wrong. But there's some things that, and I'm not trying to make myself look or sound better than anybody else in this video, but there's some things that need to be covered. Yesterday, you may have seen it, and I'll go ahead and pop it up here where you can see it. Former President Donald Trump was shot, had a bullet graze his right ear. Fortunately, he's fine. And I want to preface all this by saying that my comments would have been the same if it was Biden that was being shot. My wife gets tired of hearing me say this, but think about it this way. When you get pulled over by the police or the DOT and you get a ticket, the place to fight that officer is not on the side of the road. It's in a courtroom. If you feel like you got a ticket you don't deserve, that's where you fight the ticket, in the courtroom. And when the judge hands down his sentence, that's not the place to fight the judge. We were watching this court show last night where they were showing outbursts in court, and that's not the place to do it. There's an appeals process. There's a way to do things. And currently in this country, we're having a lot of people that they're not happy with the way things are going. Either, on both sides, there's Republicans not happy, there's Democrats not happy. There's a certain segment of the population that, well, let's just be honest, there's a certain segment of the population that says, I don't want Joe Biden to be president again. There's a certain segment of the population that says, I don't want Trump to be president again. There's even some Republicans they call never Trumpers that would never vote for Trump. So the problem is, and it happens on YouTube channels too. If I've got a complaint against another YouTuber and we let it escalate to the point that there's crazies everywhere, and there's crazies that support me, there's crazies that support other YouTubers, and if we let the dialogue get to a level where it incites people, that then we're just waiting for something bad to happen. We all should have seen this coming for Trump and for Biden. Um, you know, they've tried everything they can to humiliate him. They've tried taking him to court. They've convicted him of felonies in court proceedings that could be viewed as slanted. I'm not going to get on here and say they are or are not slanted, but they could be viewed that way. And it seems like the more they do to him, the more popular they make him. I think that this latest deal is probably going to make him pretty much invincible for the election. But I would be saying the same things about President Biden. Biden clearly has some cognitive issues. I don't want to make fun of him. I actually feel sorry for him. I don't agree with hardly anything he says, but I still believe that when you get to that position, you deserve a certain level of respect. And the thing that really bothers me about this whole deal is that we've got people on both sides of the aisle. We've got the never Trumpers, and we've also got some Democrats that they can't condemn this and say this is wrong. And like Bill Clinton came out 3 hours later. It shouldn't take you 3 hours to figure out that what's going on here is wrong. Now, maybe he was doing something, maybe there's a good reason, but it's just a very sad day. It's very disturbing. And, the place to be, I mentioned how you beat traffic tickets, the place to fight cops is in a courtroom with a judge, with a jury like that. It's not on the side of the road. And the same thing here. If you don't like Joe Biden, the place to beat Joe Biden is at the ballot box. It's not shoot at him. It's not, try to punch him in the face or whatever your plan is. The way to beat Joe Biden is at the ballot boxes. Same thing with Trump. If you don't like Trump, the place to beat Trump is at the ballot box. It's not to uh, try to run some amped up charges through a court system. It's definitely not to shoot at him. And then there's more to the story. Of course, this shooter was only like 130 yards away from the president or former president when he fired. That rifle has a range of about 4 or 5 times that amount. So uh, it's a miracle, and I say that non-politically. It's a miracle that President Trump is still alive. We're talking millimeters away from getting the brainstem, which is where they train snipers to aim for. He just happened to turn his head at the right time. Some of you are going to call it luck. Some of you are going to call it a miracle. I believe it was a miracle from God. I don't believe it was his time to go. But I'm really troubled that so many, especially politicians, are having trouble condemning this activity. And before all the gun activists go crazy out here, um, the shooter obtained that gun from his dad, who purchased it legally. So you can have all the background checks and all that hoopla you want. It all comes down to the gun was purchased legally. And so we've got a real problem here. For those of you that are truck drivers, think back to the CB days when truck drivers had a CB before cell phones were really prevalent. We would sit on the CB at night to stay awake, and we'd debate politics and everything else in the world, religion, everything else. But we did it with the intent of A, staying awake, and B, changing somebody's mind. Never once did we say, pull over, I'm going to shoot you because you disagree with me. And I think that's part of the problem right now. You've got, and it's been getting progressively worse. You got two prominent people, and I know Kennedy's trying, and who knows how all these events will affect his candidacy. But you've got two people that a lot of people are excited about. A lot of people are like, but they're going to vote either way. As the rhetoric gets ramped up and the stakes get higher and higher, more of these fringe things are going to happen. And, I'm surprised that, they showed where the shooter was. I'm surprised that somebody in the crowd didn't see him sooner and point him out. I'm not sure I understand why the Secret Service didn't have more manpower there. There was some reports that the Trump organization had asked for more security and were denied. Typically, the Secret Service will provide more security after they become the candidate for that party officially, which would have been at the RNC starting on Monday. So definitely don't know what's going on there. I don't want to comment while they're still doing their investigation, but there should have been more manpower there. And those of you that have any kind of military or security training, you know that building tops for events like this are what you secure first. They call them sanitizing it, and there should have been somebody, with it only being 130 meters away. Should have been somebody that sanitized that building, that cleared it and made sure that there wasn't anything like this, especially with all the events that have gone on lately. And so um, I guess I've said all that to say this. You guys definitely support your political party, whatever party that is. If you're a libertarian, fine. If you're a Republican, fine. If you're a Democrat, fine. But know the line. Let's keep it respectful. Let's debate the issues. I mean, a week ago, we were talking about Biden's cognitive health. This was a great distraction from that. Now, I'm not saying that the Democrats orchestrated this or anything like that, but we've got problems that we need to look at. And I'll tell you right now, had that bullet killed Trump, it would have caused a lot of political chaos because he hasn't named his vice president uh, choice yet. And there's a lot of people that are never Bideners now because of what's going on with his cognitive skills. So it would have created a lot of chaos. There's a lot of people, right or wrong, that feel like the last election was stole from Trump, and were he have to been shot and killed, this would have further fueled that fire. Now, let's talk about Trump's reaction to being shot. He was grazed in the ear. There was blood going. I showed the picture. Matter of fact, I'll show it again while I'm talking about this. But then when he ducks down like they train him to do, and Secret Service is telling him, stay down, and he obeys what they say. And after they confirm that the shooter had been neutralized, they're like, come on, let's go. And he's like, wait, I got to get my shoes. I don't know what happened to his shoes. He may have ducked so fast that his shoes fell off. Don't know what happened there. But then when he raised up, he could have cowardly got off stage. He could have cowardly ran over to uh, the Suburban and got away, gone to the hospital, thought of himself. But instead, he did what I got in this picture right here. He's pumping his fist. He said, keep fighting. And, that shows courage. It shows bravery, whether you like the guy or not. It shows courage and it shows bravery. And it instills to the viewers that are watching that everything is going to be okay. And so I hope that as we get closer to November and everybody gets more and more involved in this, that we'll just keep some sanity in it, keep some civility in it. The only thing that keeps us from being like all the other countries in the world, this is something that would happen in Russia. This is a coup trying to take over. I mean, if Trump wins, Trump wins. If Biden wins, Biden wins. But we shouldn't try to control that by court proceedings or assassinations or things like that. Let's let both sides present their case and then let's vote and let's live with the outcome. And in 4 years, we can do it all again. So I just hope that people will take what I've said today and give it some thought. I'm probably going to get in trouble. YouTube doesn't like when I do stuff like this, but I felt like it needed to be said. And for that reason, I'm encouraging everybody to give this video a thumbs up and share it on your social media platforms. And make sure you're subscribed. I've got a big video, big video unrelated to this that is coming out tomorrow if I can finish getting it done. And it's going to completely change uh, your finances in trucking. It's going to be free to almost all of you. And so I'm real excited to share it with you. I've just got to do some editing and get it out there. So you guys make sure you're subscribed because in this economy, the way people are hurting, we need to help people. And we certainly don't need junk like what went on yesterday going on. So that's all I'm going to say about that from now. If y'all have got questions or comments, throw them up. I'll get to them quick. Speaking of comments, I'm going to jump in the comments now and say hello to some people. Roger Berry was first today. He got here at around 8:25 this morning. He says, I'm in. I will be on my way to Alpharetta, Georgia. Hope all is well, my friend. Yes, sir. Thank you for being here. And Adam says, I'm here. Good to have you. Robbie Ross, channel member. Hiya, friends from Bolingbrook. My truck has an air leak and I'm in a hotel. Robbie Ross's truck has been bulletproof for the longest time, and now he's having a few little issues. I talked to him some. I believe it was via text, and his attitude's still really good. and he's still really positive on the truck. So hopefully he'll get some good news here real soon. And Mark Ely says, "What's up, everyone?" Ramon, channel member, says, "Ocala, Florida at the Petro. Good to have you, sir." And my uncle Racing Ray is here. We've got to hang out quite a bit lately. We went to Dallas to look at some cars. He was in the market for a new vehicle. And then we ended up going to El Paso and looking at a car. We had some car trouble while we were over there, and it turned out to be quite the adventure. But we had a good time, and glad I got to hang out with him. I don't get to see him very much these days. And Trucking with the Fly Rabbit and Poppy says, "Good afternoon, Gorilla Gang." Well, the Gorilla Gang is getting small. We're down to 6. Those of you that have let your membership lapse, I would encourage you to get that going again. I'm trying to get now that I got my new schedule at work, which ended up being the same schedule I've got now. I'm figuring out how to schedule everything where I can do more videos. We're going to go back to having exclusive member only content very, very soon. So you'll want to make sure that you're a member so you see that when it comes out. And so who knows, we may continue talking about trucking companies on that channel. And we may throw a little politics in there. You never know. So you'll definitely want to be a part of that. And it's only like $5 a month, so give it some consideration. Racing Ray 28 says it's hard to watch NASCAR and Trucker Todd at the same time, but I think I can do it. I'm gonna try hard. And channel member Robbie Ross says multitask, Ray. I keep the volume down for the race. So for those that don't know, Racing Ray is a huge NASCAR fan, and I mean he listens to in-car audio while he watches the race, and he's very focused. Runs multiple phones so he can do it. He's the biggest NASCAR fan I know, and so I'll fully forgive him if he needs to go watch NASCAR and catch this on the replay. I've said my monologue, so I can totally understand if he wants to focus on that and come back later and get viewer comments and things like that. But yeah, you won't find a bigger NASCAR fan than Racing Ray 28. He says, "Yes, sir, Robbie Ross, I can do that. I also have the team communications coming out of the Bluetooth speaker. It's very hard to ignore my team when they're talking about the car." Yeah, it's okay. I forgive you if you need to go do that. Bill Clinton took 3 hours to respond. Trump took 3 hours to respond to January 6th as well. Um, we can talk about January 6th if you want to. Um, you can take Trump's speech from January 6th and interpret it any way you want to. Uh, there's been reports come out that that was actually rigged up by the Democratic Party. There's lots of stuff there. Don't really want to debate that today. We definitely can if that's where y'all want to go. But I mean, even, I always like to do this when this kind of stuff comes up. Even if every single thing they said about Trump is true, 100% true on January 6th, he didn't advocate killing his political opposition. And that's what we got. We got to kind of compare apples and oranges here. So there's some people that believe that his comments that day were incendiary, that they sparked rebellion like that. But, I don't remember anywhere in his speech where he was advocating killing somebody. And I'm not saying the Democrats did either, but I'm saying that this is far more serious. He was millimeters away from losing his life. And whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, you should be decent enough to be able to say that's wrong. And quite frankly, to Trump's defense, I don't think on January 6th that he viewed his speech as wanting people to do what they did. And so, like I said, don't really want to go into that tonight, but an assassination attempt, that's something that they do overseas. That's something that happens in Iran. That's something that happens in Iraq. That's something that happens in Middle Eastern countries or third world countries. That's something that happens in communist countries, North Korea, China, Russia. That's not something that should be happening here. And I'm not saying it's unprecedented. We all remember when they tried to kill Reagan, and it's just that's not how we win elections. That's not how we get our political messages across. And we should all be decent enough to say what happened yesterday was wrong. Russia is not this corrupt. You might have a point there. We've yeah, I think I agree with you. It's really bad. I was really disappointed to see what I saw yesterday. And I don't know if anybody saw it. I don't have it on my computer to show you, but they actually have a shot where somebody caught a picture of the bullet going by Trump's head and how close it was. Millimeters away from losing his life instantly before he hit the ground. And there's just no place for that. Uh, Thousands, probably millions of people have died for us to have the ability to vote and do the things we do and the freedoms we have. And they didn't do it so we could assassinate each other and get who we wanted in office that way. And they didn't do it so we could make up fake charges or at least exaggerated charges to get our candidate the edge. And it's had the opposite effect. Look, if you were worried about Trump being president before, uh, the felonies didn't help you. If anything, his popularity has grown since those charges. And if you thought shooting at him was going to intimidate him or cause him to drop out of the race or make his supporters go away, I don't think I've ever seen a Republican Party more united than what they are right now. And definitely independents are going to be leaning towards Trump now. This is just, I mean, you had a better shot the other way when they were worried about Biden and his cognitive abilities. People felt sorry for him. Kamala Harris was probably going to get the nod at some point, but now you've made Trump the victim, and you've made him look patriotic, and you've made him look brave. And I mean, a couple of days before the convention, I, I think Trump's unbeatable at this point, whether you like him or not. And there's one thing for sure: they're going to have a ton of security around him. He's probably never been safer than what he is right now. So, uh, I mean, he spent a couple hours at the hospital and he was on his way home to Florida. And they're hoping he'll take a couple of days to rest. We don't know the exact day he's going to the convention yet. I figure he'll be there probably maybe Wednesday or Thursday. I don't think he'll be there on Monday or Tuesday, but we'll see. He may show up early. Everybody's wondering who his vice presidential pick is. Robbie Ross, channel member. These damn talking heads talking about Trump raising his arm and making a fist was a sign to show his supporters that he is saying to incite trouble. Such BS. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. To me, I viewed it along the lines of September 11th when George Bush stood on top of the rubble and he said, his little deal he did about uh, it was insightful, but in a very patriotic way. You know, one day they're going to hear all our voices was the final words of that deal, and the crowd cheered. And I think that's what this did here. I think this was Trump saying, "Hey, I'm okay. Y'all keep supporting me, keep fighting for me. We're going to rise above this." And I think it was very, very patriotic, and I think it was. I'll go ahead and say inspiring. And I know there's some people that, like you said, the Democratic Party, the talking heads and liberal media, they're going to say, "Oh, he's trying to incite people. He's trying to have another January 6th." And I think it's just the thought of patriotism and love of country is something that they're not familiar with. It's foreign to them. They don't understand, well, why do you love this country? Why do you think it's so great here? And they feel guilty about the freedoms we have here. They feel guilty about the religious liberties we have here, and so it's just really sad. And I'm going to say something's going to get me in trouble right here. I consider this a failure in our public schools because they're not educating kids on the things they need to. They need to learn reading and writing and history and why this country is so great and the sacrifices this country made to become so great. And instead, they're doing transgender studies and they're learning about being woke and all of this. It's stuff that has maybe there is a place for it, but that's it's not the things that we need to be focusing on in school. And so anyway, I'm sure I'm digging a hole that YouTube's probably going to ban this video. So if you're seeing it, you're lucky. I'm sure my trolls will report me and say that I said stuff I didn't say and I did stuff I didn't do. It's fine. But the true people, that's why I sent out as many text messages as I did. Try to get as much of you here because I knew YouTube would do what YouTube does. Yes, like I was saying a minute ago, Bobby G says Russia is not this corrupt, and I think I agree at this point. We've gone too far off path when Russia starts looking like a moral authority to us. So we really need to examine ourselves and what we stand for, and do we really want to be a people that can't say shooting a president is bad? Regardless of party, we've got people that'll say shooting a Democrat's bad, and we've got people that'll say shooting a Republican is bad. But do we really want to get so narrow minded and so focused that we say, well, it's only bad if it's the guy I don't like? Racing Raid 28 says, right on, Todd. I think you have nailed it. Well, I appreciate it. I know I'm doing good if Ray is willing to give up NASCAR for me. He is going to Milwaukee today. Trump said he thought about laying low. He said no assassin is going to change that. Well, I think there's a couple of things you could say about Trump, whether you like him or not. Hey, I'll be the first to tell you, sometimes I don't like the package, but I like the results. Do I think he could say things a little better sometimes? Absolutely. Do I think he could package things a little better sometimes? Most of the time, yes. But one thing you can't doubt is that he loves this country. One thing you can't doubt is that he's brave. And one thing you can't doubt is he's a strong man. Uh, like him or not. And so, yeah, I think it's great if he goes there. Obviously, with his ear being like that, I'd worry about infection. I'm sure he's got doctors that are constantly tending to him and looking at him. But let's remember, this is no young guy himself. I was glad to see how quickly he went down to shield himself. I was glad to see how quick he was able to get up. He walked pretty well over to the Suburban they put him in. Uh, there was a girl that got a lot of attention in that video, the brave ponytail girl that was kind of hugging him and shielding him as they were walking him to the Suburban. So, I mean, I think that even if you absolutely hate this guy, I think you have to have a certain measured respect for how he handled that situation. He wasn't crying and acting like a victim. He's not coming out to say today saying we need to ban all guns like certain political people would do. He's just saying, "Hey, I'm not going to let this guy bully me. I'm not going to let this guy scare me. I'm going to go to the next event." And if his doctors are on board, then I think it's really inspiring and really great. Fight, fight, fight are great last words. Yeah, well, it was like I said, the thing that I immediately thought of was September 11th, and I realized it was a little bit later when George Bush went there and stood on that rubble, and he said that he heard him, and pretty soon the whole world was going to hear him. And that was the perfect statement for that time. And I think fight, 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 as short as it was the perfect statement for yesterday. And so, yeah, I think I agree with you, Lucasey. 8974. Also, Lucasey 8974 says Trump was safer in the Bronx and when he met North Korean leader. What a joke. Yeah, ain't that, and that's another great point that Lucasey just made that I hadn't even thought about. Trump was safer in North Korea than he is, and he stepped across the border, so he was in North Korea. He was safer in North Korea than what he was in Philadelphia yesterday. And and so yeah, that's it's mind blowing. Sometimes things so crazy happen you don't even know how to respond or what to say. But last night I really had trouble sleeping, and they had a special event at church today, so the preacher didn't talk about it any. But I wanted to get on here and see what everybody's thoughts were on it. A lot of people were asking me my thoughts, and so that's why I wanted to do that today. Robbie Ross, channel member, you skipped over my thought on RFK Jr. I did not see it. Let me scroll up and see if I see it. I do not see it. Let me see if I can find it over here. You may have to put your comment again, Robbie Ross. I do not see it. I don't know what's happening. I don't have any moderators, so nobody blocked you. And I don't know why it's not showing it. Trump is a victim. He's been victimized not only by attempted assassination, but also in the court system. Well, I think he's been attacked, but I don't think he's allowed himself to become a victim. And I think that's part of why his support is so great. You find yourself not feeling sorry for him, thinking he's a victim, but being inspired by him. And so I think it's done the exact opposite of what the people that were against him thought it would do. I think they thought as soon as they got him a felony, whatever the felony was for, it could have been for jaywalking. As soon as he got a felony, people would go, "Oh, I can't vote for a felon," and that didn't work. And they said, and I think they thought, well, when we show everybody how mean he is and how he hurts our feelings, that'll do it. Nobody will vote for him then. And people were like, "Well, he's a regular guy like I am. I say the wrong things sometimes. I do the wrong things sometimes." And I think that when they saw how bad Biden performed in the debates, they thought, "Oh man, we're in a bind. We don't have a replacement. We need Biden to step down." He said he's not stepping down. We need somebody to step up. And Kamala Harris scores lower than Biden does in most of the polls. And Gavin Newsom's a train wreck from California. Everything he touches turns bad. And so I think they felt like, and maybe not the whole party, but definitely some of the fringe of the party felt like this is our only option. We got to get rid of him. There's some of them that think Trump being president again is the nuclear option. And I don't think it is. We've had some presidents that literally scared me to death, and we survived the 4 years. You have Congress to kind of offset them. It's one thing great that the founding fathers did is have checks and balances. But yeah, I mean, this should not have been a shock to anybody. Secret Service should have been stepping up security for this guy weeks ago because he's not a typical former president running for office. And Trump, whether you like him or not, inspires stuff in people. Some people it's good stuff. Some people it's bad stuff, like we saw yesterday. And so that's that's what I would say about that. But yeah, I think Trump would be offended if we called him a victim. I don't think he wants to be a victim. I think he wants to be inspirational, and I think he wants to change the country for the good. Whether you like the guy or not, he's close to his family. Same with Biden. Whether you like Biden or not, he loves his family. They love him. And so I have to believe that both sides want what's best for the country. Now, looking at that, this is the first time in a long time we've had two presidents that have been in office in recent years, and we can compare their presidencies. And I think if you look at what the last 3 years or so have been like with Biden and what the last 4 years were like with Trump, then you can make your decision which you think was better. I think you also have to weight it with that virus that starts with a C uh, that YouTube won't allow me to say. Almost got my channel taken down for it. But the big virus, you know which one it was, the 19 virus. Uh, it it had some effect on both of them. A lot of people feel like it hurt Trump that he'd have been reelected had it not been for the virus. A lot of people feel like it helped Biden that he might not have been elected if it weren't for that virus. But either way, we are where we are. And I just think that that's how we fight this battle. We fight it at the ballot box. We don't go trying to take each other out. And as I said at the start of this video, if the reverse had happened, if this was Biden and he got grazed in the ear, I would have the exact same reaction. And I'd be very disappointed in the guy that did it because that's not the way this country was set up. That's the way those other countries that we consider enemies were set up. Chase Elliott is running second, and Racing Ray's very excited. And Lucchese 8974 says he doesn't see uh, Rob Rossi's comment either, or Robbie Ross's. Ooh, man, my tongue ain't working. Robbie Ross's comment either. Racing Ray says Donald Trump is a true patriot. Yeah, and a few years ago, if you'd have told me, hey, you're going to be supporting Donald Trump for office, I'd have said, no way. He was on The Apprentice. I thought, oh, he was on WWE. He was wrestling. It was, I thought, oh, he's just a publicity guy. Matter of fact, I said that at one point. He'll never run for office. He's just out here for the publicity. He's promoting himself. He's promoting his books. But you can't argue with the results. And when you get the kind of results that he got during his 4 years in office, you got to say, hey, I may not like the way he says it, but I like the way he does it. All right, we got Robbie Ross right here with his $20 super chat. He's also a channel member. He said, apparently money won't let me say that comment. I'll tell you what, Robbie Rossi, send it to me in a text message, and I'll go try to get it and read it if I think it's where I can get away with it on here. I'm walking a tightrope today. This video is going to get me in a lot of trouble, I'm sure. All right, let's go back up and jump in the comments. That mic drop moment where he said Biden beat Medicare to death was the moment Joey made some calls. LOL. Oh, yeah, the whole thing has got too personal. And I noticed in that first debate that the only time Biden really had some fire to him was when Trump made the comment about Hunter Biden. And, I kind of felt sorry for Biden at that point because I don't care who you are. If you've got a son or a daughter and they're good or bad, especially if they're a little bad or a little bit of a disappointment, and somebody starts talking about your kid, it's tough to listen to, and you're probably going to respond. So for me, I've always tried to keep kids and family out of it. So I don't parade my kids in my videos, and I don't talk about them unless I need to, because they didn't ask for the Trucker Todd thing, and I try to keep it kind of separate from this. But for sure, if my opposition got on here and started airing a bunch of stuff on my kids, it'd be hard not to respond. And I think as a parent, I was sympathetic to Biden when those things were being said about Hunter. Again, just like I did with Trump, where I said, "Hey, if everything is 100% true about January 6th, I'm saying the same thing here. If everything's 100% true about Hunter Biden, everything, it's still tough to listen to if you're his father, even if you knew what was going on." So I was a little bit sympathetic to Biden, that one small section of the debate, because it's hard to have somebody else talking about your kid, especially in front on a stage in front of millions of people. Racing Ray said he didn't see your comment either. And Racing Ray says that's kind of weird, Robbie Ross. I was also having trouble sending a comment, and I thought it might be YouTube that was trying to censor me. Um, definitely, definitely, YouTube has some very strong political leanings, and if they feel like your comments or my comments go against their narrative, they'll be tempted to make it worth it. All right. Robbie Ross says in just a few seconds he's going to text me his comment. I'm going to read a couple more comments and then I'll go look in my text messages and see what he said. Jesus, the name above all names, says, I think YouTube is censoring comments as well. Mine didn't make it through either. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do, let me see if I can change some of my settings here to see all your messages. And then I think I'm going to go back and see if I can read some of them. Channel member Robbie Ross says, check your messages. I can see my comment. I guess no one else can. Yeah, you'll be able to see your comments even if I block them, but nobody else will. Now, I'm going to scroll up to the top and see if I see anything that I might have missed before. Yeah, I just went through it again on an actual YouTube device and or app and not using StreamYard like I am here. And I'm not seeing y'all's comments, so that makes me think YouTube blocked it. Ah, here's one I missed. I'm going to put it up there, and I don't see anything wrong with this message. Let me see if I can. Let me go back up here. We did have some that, and if I can find them, I'll put them on the screen. If I can, I'll just read them out to you. And we'll get to the other questions here. This is the busiest the chat's been in a while. So I'm having to catch up. I may need moderators again at some point. Xload 3D said, I didn't care about Obama until that idiot passed Obamacare and everyone was first forced to work part-time hours because companies couldn't afford full-time benefits to their employees. Yes, I remember that. I was opposed to Obamacare, but then when it became the law of the land and I was self-employed, I used Obamacare to get coverage because it was cheap. And so it's working within the system. And I still oppose Obamacare. I still think it's wrong. But if I'm self-employed and I need health care, that's what I'm going to do. And now I'm currently covered under the company that I work for under their health care. I believe it's Blue Cross Blue Shield, Illinois. But anyway, let me see if there's some more comments here I missed. And then we'll go see what Robbie Ross said. And then we're back up to almost caught up. He says, "Do you have the chat settings to hold message until approved?" Maybe it got missed. No, I don't do that. I play everybody's messages unless it's just so disrespectful and rude that we can't play it because we want to keep it family friendly. Um, so I try to let everybody say what they say. And I've said all the time, it's okay to disagree with me. It's just let's keep it respectful. If I disagree with you, I'm going to try to keep it respectful too. And for the most part, we've been able to do that the whole time we've done these lives. There's been, a handful of guys, 3 or 4 guys that we've had to remove because they went over the line. But for the most part, we've had some pretty heated debates in here, and a lot of people I'm still friends with. I can think of 2 or 3 that are in right here right now that we've had really heated debates and stayed friends over the deal. And eventually they persuaded me to believe like they believed, or I persuaded them to believe like I did, or sometimes we just have to agree to disagree, and we'll still debate it sometimes. It's kind of fun to do if you get somebody that is articulate and they can do it without the name calling. Calling me stupid or an idiot doesn't further the dialogue, but if you can articulatively speak why you disagree with me and we can have a discussion about it, then that's fun. And there's the potential for both of us to learn something. He says, "Oh, hey, I was wondering, have you looked into taking fish oil pills? I got a Costco membership and their supplements are great priced. I started taking fish oil daily over a year now, the omega 3s. Yeah, I do take fish oil. Um, I like them. I take one every day. And plus, in my private life, I eat a lot of fish and beef, of course, being from West Texas. But yeah, I love seafood. It's my favorite food, and I do take fish oil pills every day. I used to get them at Costco. We used to have a Costco membership, and I gave it up when they started requiring masks. I refused to wear a mask, and they said, "Well, if you don't wear a mask, we ain't gonna let you in." I said, "All right." I put the mask on. I walked over to the counter and said, "I want to cancel my membership," and they gave me part of my money back. And I walked out of there and hadn't been back in there. I enjoyed going there. I used their pharmacy at the time, and my uncle that's in here, he loves Sam's, but I despise everything Walmart. And so at some point, we've talked about getting the Costco membership back, especially now that I'm home every day. But you have to buy everything in such large quantities that with it just being, uh, you know, 1 or 2 people here, usually it's hard to get your money's worth out of it. All right, we're doing good. We're almost at the hour mark. While we're waiting on people to type comments, please, please, please give me a thumbs up and share this video on your social media platforms. Hopefully, it will affect the analytics in a way that will keep YouTube from taking this video down. Also, while you're there, subscribe. I got a lot of videos coming out this week that I filmed yesterday. One of them for tomorrow I've still got to work on, but it's going to be the most important one of all. I'm going to give you guys some software tomorrow that could potentially change your trucking operations. Using it will almost guarantee you that you'll make more money, and it's free to sign up for. So I want you to be a part of that. And that video will come out at 9 o'clock in the morning if I finish it tonight and get it done. So I'm really looking forward to it, and it's free for most people. Fleets will have to pay a little bit, but you one truck owner operators or company drivers that are considering doing a lease purchase or being an owner operator, it's going to be free for you, and I believe it's going to really affect you in a positive way. So I'm really excited to tell you about that tomorrow. Got one more comment. or Xload 3D says, "Yeah, Walmart is just different nowadays. I try to avoid it now. They aren't even 24/7 anymore." Yeah, and if you ever read Sam Walton's book, he would be turning over in his grave if he knew what was taking place at Walmart right now. This is not the Walmart he envisioned or set up all those years ago. Robbie Ross, channel member. Since my prostate surgery, my bladder now spasms all the time, which is a real pain in the tush. So in August, I will have a procedure to get Botox in my bladder. I'd never even heard of that before. While we're waiting for those comments too, let me go see if Robbie Ross sent me a text. Ah, this is a good one. This should have been in the comments. So, Robbie Ross said, if there's anyone who deserves Secret Service protection, it is him. His father and uncle were taken out by an assassin. I did not know that, but yeah, and I wasn't going to go here, but I guess I will. It kind of makes you wonder. I don't want to say they wanted this to happen, but why did they not have more protection on him? We all saw this coming. This is their job to see these things coming, to anticipate these things. And I think there's going to be a lot of investigations that take place. This is something that should have been seen and should have been prepared for much, much better than it was. Mark Ely says, I love Costco steaks. Yeah, I like, we used to go in there and get their pizzas. Their pizzas were good. Their hot dogs were cheap. Um, and if you went in on the right days, they had samples out and you could make a meal out of the samples. You could walk in there starving to death and come out pretty full. And their pharmacy was good. The problem with the pharmacy was they started cutting back what they stocked, and I'd go in there to get my pills. And it's when I was driving over the road and they'd say, "Oh, we're out of this. We got to order it." And by the time it came in, I'd be out on the road again. So eventually had to move it to Walmart for convenience. But I think we my family would agree at least that the Costco pharmacy was our preference. Just got my truck back from a new shop at home here, and they're great. Thought my turbo was going out, and this guy was honest, corrected it, fixed it correctly, and really thorough. Yeah, that's awesome. If you find an awesome mechanic, definitely try to do as much as you can with him to keep him going. We need to reward honest people so that they stay honest. If he ever gets to a feeling where the only way he can make money is by ripping people off, then unfortunately he'll probably go that way at some point. I got a guy here in Lubbock that I really like for diesel truck repairs, but obviously I don't need his services at this time. But he still sends me a text message every once in a while, see how I'm doing. Xload 3D said they had a customer selling a glider with a new rebuilt engine for 50K too. That sounds like a deal. Um, I haven't been following what's going on with gliders. I know for a while they were trying to outlaw them, and I haven't heard the latest about what's going on with that. That's probably something I need to investigate and do a video on. But there for a while, gliders were all the rage, and you don't hear anybody talk about them no more. I don't know if it's just you can't take them to California now or what the rule is, but yeah, I need to look into that. I'm sure that would be an interesting deal. Okay, folks, we're creeping up on the hour mark, and the comments are slowing down. What else would y'all like to talk about today before I dip out of here and get back to work on that Monday video? Give y'all just a few more seconds to type. I'm gonna remove this hat. It got warm in here. I wore my patriotic hat too, but it's hot in here. You can even see the sweat on my forehead. All right, folks. Looks like we're coming to that part of the day. I'm going to wrap this up and get back to work. We got another one. Robbie Ross, channel member, be careful at the TA in Sweetwater, Texas. They did not double check after they repaired my truck. Did not check to make sure no more air leaks. Yeah, it could happen at any shop. It's unfortunate that it happened in Sweetwater, which is so close to my house here. But yeah, I don't know what happened there, but yeah, definitely sounds like they dropped the ball in Sweetwater on that day, and it's costing you now. That's the thing about trucking is that you can do everything perfect, and somebody else's mistake can really hurt you. Like somebody not booking an appointment for a load you got, or putting the wrong appointment time in the computer, or loading your truck wrong, or a mechanic missing something and you break down again. There's a lot of things that are in your control, and there's a lot of things that are out of your control. And so people ask me all the time, Todd, are you coming back out? And the truth is, I don't know. If the economy stays like it is right now, probably not. But if things get better, then you never know. I really like what I'm doing right now, and I'm pretty good at it. But also like being out on the road and the freedom I had and the money I made and all of that. So in the coming months, September 14th is the very earliest I could do anything. But September 14th, we're definitely going to get my medical card again. It's good to have it, even if I don't plan on driving. And so we'll see what happens. Somebody else asks, you planning on getting anything for Amazon Prime Day, biggest sales day of the year? That was Xload 3D again. No, probably not. I right now I'm living pretty hand to mouth, kind of low budget, trying to just get through this time. In September, also, September seems to be a big month for me. My pay is going to go up $2,000 to $3,000 a month at work because I start getting the commissions, and so my situation's going to improve a lot in September, and that's going to have a big bearing on things like where I spend money and how I spend money and things like that. Mark Ely says you is, so he thinks I'm coming back to trucking. And Dennis Blazer says, hi, Todd. Hey, man, good to see you again. I hadn't seen you in a while. If you missed the first 20 minutes of the video, you definitely want to see it. I did a kind of a monologue talking about everything. Mark Ely, you missed trucking. I missed parts of trucking. I don't remember the stress of trucks breaking down and loads canceling and things like that. But I do miss being out traveling. I miss seeing the drivers at the truck stops, going to truck shows, things like that. So I do miss part of it, and so we'll see. But I'm also enjoying being around family. There's been some uh, things going on in my family, good things for the most part, and so it's requiring more of my time, and I'm glad that I'm able to be an active part of that. But yeah, we'll just see what happens. We'll see what happens with my family. We'll see what happens with my health, and then we'll make that decision when that time comes. But definitely want to stay active in transportation in some capacity, even if it's not driving. And we'll see what doors open up in the coming months. Xload 3D. So he says, "Oh, hey, what year is that Volvo you got?" I have an '07 with the ISX. So mine was an '08, if I remember correctly. I'd have to go back and watch the videos. I wrecked and totaled that truck, and so I don't have it anymore. I currently don't have a truck. So I went to F2F, and it broke down. I spent a week in the shop, got it fixed, spent a little over $7,000. And like the next day after I got it out of the shop, it was wrecked and totaled. And so don't have that truck anymore. But it was a good one. I definitely missed the truck. And Ted Van Buskirk says, hello, sir. Late as always. Been real busy. Hope all is well. Yeah, all of you guys that are just getting here, when you get a chance, go back and watch the first 20 minutes of the video. Uh, it's kind of my monologue about everything that's going on in the world right now. Skyline says, hello, Todd. Hello, sir. Thank you for being here. Xload 3D. Oh man, sorry I didn't see that video, man. Yeah, and to get it better in March, on March 14th, I had 15 strokes in one day, and they were all minor, and that's why I'm not driving a truck right now. Um, it was it was definitely a event. I did a couple of live shows from my hospital bed. If you hadn't seen those, you can go back and check those out as well. But yeah, it's been the last 12 or 14 months has been a wild ride for sure. And maybe I was meant to be home during this time. There's been a lot that's gone on that required me being here. You guys might remember I had a travel trailer. Woke up in the middle of the night, heard my wife screaming, and ran in there to see what was going on, and it was flooded. It totaled it. So we had to get an apartment. Now we're in an apartment. If I'd have been out on the road and that would have happened, I'd have had to try to find a load back, and it would have been a mess. So, I mean, things worked out for the good, I guess. But yeah, at times I miss it, and at times I don't. It just depends on what's going on. Skyline says, if able in the future, would you go back to trucking, or are you good with 3K monthly? So right now I'm making about 3K monthly. When those commissions kick in, I'll be at about high fives, low sixes. So the short answer is no, I'm not good at 3K, but if I get up around six, I could make some lifestyle adjustments and be just as comfortable as I was driving over the road, because the things that people don't think about is what I call trucking inflation. And it's the extra money you spend out on the road just because you're on the road. You go to the nice restaurant that you might have stayed home and made a sandwich if you were at home. You go to the truck stop and you pay higher prices there. And I know a lot of you eat on your truck and you cook on your truck, but there's still some extra expenses there. I was talking to a driver the other day, and he was talking about that he he gets all these Wi-Fi deals for his truck, so he has internet, and he gets all these cell phone plans. He's running 3 cell phones so that he can have phone service out on the road and have enough hotspot to watch movies out on the road and all that. Then you get your satellite radio, and you got to have your good smartphone and everything, all your expenses. And a lot of that you can do away with when you're home every day. So I don't know. It's hard to figure, but it's something I'm giving a lot of thought to right now. Xload 3D. Dang, I was going to say if you have an ISX, you can unplug something on the passenger side of the engine and it'll run better. Yeah, if I showed you a picture of my truck, there wasn't nothing you could unplug that'd make it run better. Ted Van Buskirk says, y'all make sure you hit that like button. Help Mr. Todd out. He's a good guy. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. And so, man, we had another little burst there for a second, but it's teetered off again. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of here and start working on that video for tomorrow. The plan is to have it out at 9 o'clock in the morning. So when y'all wake up, be looking for that video. I'm telling you, I believe it's going to change your financial life in trucking. And for most of you, it's going to be free. So definitely, definitely check it out. All right, folks, thank y'all for coming in here today and listening to me rant. We'll catch you on the next one. Y'all have a good night. Bye-bye.